Welcome to the Empower El podcast. I'm your host, Vero, and I'm so excited to have you join me on this journey of empowerment and growth. This podcast is designed for ambitious, high-achieving women who are ready to break free from overwhelm and step into their power. Together, we'll explore practical strategies, share inspiring stories, and hear from experts who can help you navigate the challenges of balancing ambition and well-being. Whether you're looking to cultivate confidence, transform your mindset, enhance your leadership skills, or find harmony in your life, this is the place for you. Let's dive in. Welcome to the Empower El podcast. I'm so glad that you're here to learn about something that could shift the way that you lead and live. Today's conversation is all about how leadership starts before you get the promotion. So take a deep breath and let's dive in. Have you ever caught yourself thinking, once I become a manager, then I'll start acting like a leader? Or maybe once someone finally recognizes my potential, then I'll speak up more. Or I'm not really in a leadership position yet, so it's not my place. If you've ever thought something along those lines, I want you to know you're definitely not alone. I hear this all the time from women I coach. They're incredibly capable. They're smart. They're reliable. They're the people everyone depend on. And yet they're waiting for the title, waiting for permission, waiting for someone to officially tell them they're a leader. But here's the truth. Leadership doesn't begin the day that HR updates your job title. It begins the moment you decide to take ownership of the way you show up. And honestly, this is one of the biggest career mistakes I see ambitious women make. Because while they're waiting for someone else to believe in them, someone else is already acting like a leader. And guess who gets noticed? So today's episode isn't just for managers. It's not just for executives. It's not even just for people who want a promotion. It's for anyone who wants to have influence. Because leadership isn't about managing people. It's about influencing people. It's about creating trust. It's about solving problems. It's about making people around you better. And you can start doing every single one of those things today with no title required. I actually learned this lesson the hard way. When I first started my career, I believed that promotions worked like school. You worked hard, you checked every box, you got good grades, and eventually someone handed you the next opportunity. Simple. At least that's what I thought. So I became the person who said yes to everything. Need someone to stay late? Sure. Need someone to fix a mistake? I got it. Need someone to take on another project? Absolutely. I thought working harder automatically meant I was proving that I deserved the next level. But here's what happened. People saw me as dependable. People appreciated me. People trusted me. But I wasn't necessarily showing leadership. I was showing that I could execute. And those two things are completely different things. That's a lesson I wish someone had taught me years earlier. Because organizations don't promote people simply because they're the best at doing the work. They promote people because they trust them to elevate everyone else's work. And that's a completely different skill set. Think about it. If you're the fastest person on your team, that doesn't automatically mean you'll be the best coach. If you're the smartest person in the room, that doesn't automatically mean you'll inspire other people. If you're incredible at solving problems, that doesn't automatically mean you'll teach other people how to solve them. Leadership requires an entirely different mindset. And I think that this is where so many women get stuck. We've been rewarded our entire lives for being good students. Do your work. Don't make mistakes. Stay humble. Don't be too loud. Don't take up too much space. Wait your turn. Does that sound familiar? Then we enter the workplace. And suddenly we're expected to be strategic, visible, influential, confident, decisive. But no one ever teaches us how to make that shift. We just assume that it'll happen once we get promoted. But it doesn't. Because your habits don't magically change overnight. The habits you're building today are the habits that you'll bring into your next role. So if you struggle to speak up now, you'll probably struggle to speak up as a manager. If you avoid difficult conversations now, you'll avoid them later too. If you constantly second guess yourself now, a promotion won't suddenly erase that. Your title changes, but your identity usually doesn't, unless you intentionally work on it. One thing I always tell my coaching clients is this: you have to become the person before you receive the opportunity. I'm going to say that again. You have to become the person before you receive the opportunity, not after. We spend so much time asking, how do I get promoted? When maybe a better question is, who do I need to become so that promoting me becomes the obvious choice? That's a completely different conversation. Because now we're not talking about waiting. We're talking about growth. We're talking about ownership. We're talking about leadership. I want you to think about the leaders you've respected the most throughout your career. Maybe it was a manager. Maybe it wasn't. Maybe it was someone on your team. Maybe it was someone who had zero authority, but somehow everyone listened to them when they spoke. Why? Well, it probably wasn't because they had the fanciest title. It was probably because of how they made people feel. Maybe they stayed calm during stressful situations. Maybe they listened. Maybe they asked thoughtful questions. Maybe they gave credit to other people. Maybe they admitted when they didn't know something. Maybe they solved problems instead of spreading panic. That's leadership. Notice how none of those things require permission. None of those things require a promotion. They're choices. Daily choices. One of my favorite questions to ask myself is this: if someone secretly followed me around all day, would they conclude I'm already leading, not pretending, not performing, actually leading? Would they see someone who takes initiative? Would they see someone who lifts other people up? Would they see someone who communicates clearly? Would they see someone who stays composed under pressure? Would they see someone who's constantly learning? Or would they see someone waiting for someone else to tell them what to do? That's a powerful reflection question. Because leadership is visible long before the title is. I also think we need to redefine what influence actually looks like. Sometimes we picture leadership as standing on a stage, giving presentations, making huge decisions, running meetings. But influence often looks much quieter. It looks like welcoming a new employee. It looks like sharing knowledge instead of keeping it to yourself. It looks like noticing when a teammate is overwhelmed and asking how you can help. It looks like asking better questions. It looks like being the person who brings solutions instead of just complaints. Those little moments, they're building your leadership reputation every single day. People are always forming opinions about who they trust, who they rely on, who they would want leading them one day. And every interaction becomes part of that story. So the question isn't whether people are watching. They are. The question is, what story are your actions telling? So let's make this practical. Because I know some of you are listening while you're driving to work, or walking the dog, or folding laundry, or getting ready in the morning. And you're probably thinking, okay, Vero, I get it. Leadership starts before the promotion. But what does that actually look like? So let's talk about it. Here are 5 things you can start doing today that require zero authority, but will absolutely build your leadership presence. Number 1 is to stop bringing problems and start bringing solutions. Now, let me be clear. I'm not saying you need to have all the answers. No one does. But there's a huge difference between saying, this isn't working, and saying, this isn't working. I have 2 ideas that might help. What do you think? Do you hear the difference? One person adds to the noise, and the other person adds value. Think about the people you naturally trust. They're usually the ones who stay curious instead of being critical. Instead of pointing fingers, they're asking, how do we move forward? That shift alone changes how people perceive you. It tells your leaders that you're thinking beyond your own responsibilities. You're thinking like someone who cares about the bigger picture. And that's leadership. Number 2 is to become known for your attitude, not just your output. This one is huge. Because here's something I've learned after years of working in corporate and now coaching leaders. Your reputation isn't just built on how well you do your job. It's built on how people feel after working with you. Are you the person who panics when something goes wrong? Or are you the one who says, okay, let's figure this out? Are you the person who spreads negativity after every meeting? Or are you the one who helps people move forward? Now, I'm not talking about toxic positivity. I'm not saying you should pretend everything is amazing. Life is hard sometimes. Work is hard sometimes. And leadership is hard. But emotional maturity is one of the most underrated leadership skills there is. Can you regulate before reacting? Can you stay calm when things are uncertain? Can you disagree respectfully? Can you receive feedback without making it about your worth? Those skills matter so much more than people realize. People don't just remember your performance. They remember your presence. Number 3 is to help people succeed, even when it isn't your job. I love this one because it completely changes how people experience you. Leadership isn't asking, what do I need to accomplish today? It's asking, how can I make the team better today? Maybe it's mentoring a new employee. Maybe it's sharing a template that saved you hours. Maybe it's explaining something without making someone feel stupid. Maybe it's recognizing someone else's contribution in a meeting. Those moments create trust. And trust is the foundation of influence. One of the best leaders I ever worked with wasn't the smartest person in the room. She simply made everyone around her feel smarter. Think about that. She asked questions. She listened. She coached. She encouraged. She didn't need to prove she was the smartest. She wanted the team to succeed. And that's real confidence. And honestly, that's something I think we need more of. Because insecure leaders compete with their teams. But confident leaders develop their teams. Be the second one. Number 4, speak before you're completely ready. Okay, this one might make some of you uncomfortable, especially if you're someone who likes certainty. If you like having every answer before speaking, if you rehearse your comments 5 times in your head before raising your hand, I used to be that person, but I want to lovingly challenge you. Stop waiting until you're 100% sure. One thing I've noticed over the years is that many women wait until they're completely certain before they contribute. Meanwhile, someone else is sharing an idea that's only half developed, and everyone assumes they're confident. Confidence isn't having perfect ideas. Confidence is being willing to participate. You don't have to be the loudest person in the room. You don't have to dominate conversations. But your voice deserves to be in the room. So start asking questions. Offer your perspective. Share an observation. Volunteer for the presentation. Facilitate the meeting. The more you practice using your voice now, the easier it becomes later. Confidence isn't something you wait to feel. It's something you build through repetition. Number 5 is act like the leader you're hoping to become. This one brings us full circle. Ask yourself, if I already had the promotion, how would I show up differently today? Would you communicate differently? Would you take more ownership? Would you stop gossiping? Would you spend less time complaining? Would you invest more time in developing your skills? Would you think more strategically? Would you focus less on proving yourself and more on creating impact? Start there. Because here's something people don't talk about enough. Promotions don't create leaders, they reveal them. The habits you build now are the habits you'll carry into your next role. Don't expect a new title to magically make you more confident, more organized, or more courageous. Start becoming that person now. I also want to speak to something that I think holds a lot of women back. And that's the fear of looking arrogant. I hear this all the time. I don't want people to think I'm full of myself. I don't want to seem pushy. I don't want to overstep. Can I offer you a different perspective? There's a difference between confidence and ego. Ego says, look at me. But leadership says, how can I help? Confidence says, I have something valuable to contribute. But ego says, I'm better than everyone else. Those aren't the same thing. Using your voice isn't arrogance. Taking initiative isn't arrogance. Sharing your ideas isn't arrogance. And helping people grow isn't arrogance. Please stop shrinking yourself because you're worried that someone might misunderstand your confidence. The right leaders won't be intimidated by your growth. They'll encourage it. So before we wrap up, I want to leave you with a few reflection questions. If you're listening while you're walking, maybe think about these. And if you're journaling later today, write them down. The first one is, how am I showing up today that already reflects the leader I want to become? Not the employee, the leader. Second, where am I waiting for permission that I could give myself instead? And third, if my promotion never came, would I still choose to grow into this version of myself? Because here's the thing, leadership isn't just about career advancement. It's about becoming someone who has a positive impact wherever they go. Whether that's at work, at home, in your community, in your friendships, or in your family. Leadership is influence. And every single one of us has influence. The question is what we're doing with it. So I'll leave you with this. Don't wait for the title to start acting like the leader you know you're capable of becoming. Don't wait for someone else to validate your potential. Don't wait until you feel ready. Because the leaders who get noticed aren't the ones who suddenly transform after the promotion. They're the ones who quietly build trust, credibility, confidence, and influence long before anyone hands them the title. Someone is already watching how you show up. Your colleagues, your manager, your clients, your friends, your family. Most importantly, you're watching yourself. Every time you choose courage over comfort, every time you speak up, every time you help someone else succeed, every time you take ownership, you're casting a vote for the kind of leader you're becoming. And eventually, those votes become your identity. So don't wait for permission. Lead now. Because leadership starts long before the promotion ever does. So I remind you to keep choosing yourself, your vision, and your values. That is real power. I hope you have an amazing day, and I will see you in the next episode. Thank you for tuning into the Empower L podcast. I hope today's episode inspired you and gave you practical insights to help you navigate your journey as an ambitious, high-achieving woman. Remember, every step you take towards building your confidence and embracing your full potential is a step closer to creating the life you truly desire. If you enjoyed this episode, please take a moment to subscribe, rate, and review the podcast on your favorite platform. Your support helps us reach more women who are ready to step into their power and live their best lives. Don't forget to join our community on social media for more resources, tips, and inspiration. Until next time, lead with power and live with wellness. You are unstoppable.